Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries Rewind, two friends get together to discuss episodes of their favorite television show, Unsolved Mysteries. Will they find answers? Will anyone care? You may be able to solve a mystery.
Hello, this is Mark, and you're listening to Unsolved Mysteries Rewind. I have on tonight, as always, my co-host, Laura Crook. How are you doing, Laura?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing great. It's been too long. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. We took a little hiatus, but we're back. And I think you made me jealous because you and your dad did that last episode, and it's like, she's trying to replace me.
No, you could never do that. No, never ever. We don't have this. Dad and I don't have the same banter as you and I have. So, but it worked. But it's always good to have it back up. But we're back to where we are now. So
here we are.
Here we are.
So, what case are we talking about tonight?
We are talking about the unexplained death of Kurt Sova, which is also known by Unsolved Mysteries, eloquently put, aka Halloween party death. Oh. It is an early one, so it's season 1, episode 9. It was first aired 23rd of November, 1988.
Now, this guy had a cool look to him. I thought maybe that's why it sticks out of my head. He's kind of like, looks like the guy who would be in like kind of a rock band or something at the time.
Yeah, yes. Well, it did happen in 1981, so he has got sort of the 70s sort of look.
Yeah. the kind of the hair helmet a little bit. You can't see his ears and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm sure you had hair like that at one point.
My hair has always been big and messy. Except now. Now my hair is really, really long. I have not cut I have pandemic hair. I've not cut my hair since the beginning of the pandemic.
That is impressive. That is impressive.
Yeah. And now it's approaching the lower of my back. So it's pretty long.
Like Rapunzel.
Yeah. I can't cut it. One of these days I'll cut it. But my wife wishes I would cut it.
Yes.
But that's her opinion.
Yes.
So yeah.
It's whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. It's I like it. But,
yeah, well, fair enough.
So this takes place in Ohio, in Newburgh Heights. It's a suburb of Cleveland. Cleveland is kind of known for some kind of sketchiness these days. I'm not really sure what Cleveland was like in the early 80s.
No, me neither. But it happened to Kurt Eugene Sova. And so it was October 28th, 1981. Mm-hmm. And 3 young boys made a gruesome discovery. They found a body of a young man lying face up in a puddle in a ravine. Mm-hmm. And the body looked like it was in a Christ-like pose with one leg crossed over the other at the ankle. And it looked like he had just laid down and taken a nap.
It's weird because his one of his shoes was off of his body. It was like 12 feet away.
Yes.
And I thought that was kind of, that alone makes me kind of wonder what's going on. He's also wearing brightly colored clothing. And I guess we'll get into it in a little bit. But for the most part, they searched this ravine for this person days prior to finding him.
Yeah, even I think the day before that his body was even found. So that is, we'll get into it, but very, very strange.
Did you ever see the movie Stand By Me?
Yes.
Didn't the beginning of this kind of remind you a little bit of that? How they, in the movie they find the dead body and stuff.
Yes. Oh my God. What a flashback movie. It's so good.
Good movie with Kiefer Sutherland and all of the other.
River Phoenix.
Oh man. I used to love River Phoenix. What a good, what a great actor. So young and, drugs.
Yeah. He would have been like one of those people that would have like had a really great career, like Heath Ledger would have had if he'd lived.
Yeah. It was almost like Leo DiCaprio took over where he took.
Well, yeah. He was around the same time, so just a little bit younger than River. So
yeah, I liked River Phoenix. Of course, Joaquin Phoenix, being his brother, is also a really good actor.
Oh, he's great. He's great in Gladiator. I love him in Gladiator.
You know, I never saw Gladiator. I'm not into that kind of...
Oh, my gosh. It is so good. You have to watch it. Oh, my goodness.
All right.
Yeah, oh, please
I'll
watch
add it to the list on the very bottom.
Okay.
But it's on the list. It's on the list. These kids find the body and they do the right thing. They report it. And as you mentioned, that it did appear to have been deliberately placed there. It appeared to be also in the middle of nowhere. Kind of like you're not going to accidentally stumble. He's not going to just kind of walk out there and just collapse. The autopsy reveals that he died about 2.5 days prior to the body being found, but he'd been missing for a total of 5 days at this point, which really, really surprised me. Because I mean, maybe like you, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, but I thought he got alcohol poisoning, and we'll discuss why. And he just died, and they didn't know what to do with the body, and they dumped him. Is it possible the autopsy report was wrong?
Well, back then, autopsy reports weren't as accurate as they are now. I mean, you just look at Law and Order. Like, I know that sounds weird, but they can find out so much more now from toxicity screenings. Yeah. It depends also on how educated the mortician is. And, there's so many things you can find out now that you couldn't back then. You got to remember, this was 1981. So this was 40 years ago. Yeah. 42 years ago, or nearly.
Stop making me feel old. I remember 1981.
But you are old.
Yeah. How dare you get the bell for that? All right.
I'm sorry. I'm old too, so there you go. It makes you feel better. I'm old too. But we go. I mean, like I said, this is a definition of an unsolved mystery, because what the heck happened to him when the days that he was missing? Mm-hmm. If he had died a day or a day and a half before, before his body was found, there's still 2.5 days where what the heck happened to him? And so where was he during these 5 days, and how did he die, and what caused his death?
Did they mention whether his body appeared to have been there for more than a couple days?
No, because remember they said that they searched the ravine. The father adamantly stated that he had searched that ravine the day before.
The day before.
And that, yes, the day before his body was found, and that, again, like you mentioned, he was wearing, I think it was a very bright yellow or a bright orange top that couldn't be missed in the ravine. It's brightly coloured, it's not going to, you're just going to look at it and go, what the heck's that? It's going to stand out. So Kurt's mother, Dorothy, is sure somebody knows something, which is obviously true. She believes that somebody was either with him when he died or came upon him after he died, panicked and put him in the ravine because they didn't want to be caught with him, which makes sense.
Yeah. So Kurt was a high school junior, which I think kind of places him at about 16 years old, maybe 17. Yes. And he lived with his parents, and he was just seemed like to be a normal person. His mother stated in the reenactment, well, not the reenactment, but in the interview, how they never had trouble with him in school, no police issues. He seemed to be just kind of your standard straight edge kid.
Yeah.
And he maybe partied a little bit, like a lot of 16-year-olds might.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he probably, what 16-year-old is going to tell their parents, oh, hey, I'm going to go and drink a bottle of Everclear tonight, and maybe possibly do some drugs. So no kid's perfect, and we all did things that our parents either found out about later or never found out.
Not me.
So he wasn't the perfect teenager.
I was.
But
an angel, yeah.
But you know what I mean? So like he probably wasn't like, the really, really bad kid that, knows how to get things and hit everyone that people goes to. But, he probably did just do a few things that his parents didn't know about. So, but he was the youngest of 4 sons, and he was the closest to his parents. And and
You
he
brought
liked
up
to laugh.
Everclear. I just want to bring that up.
I've never even heard of it. I had to look it up.
Yeah, and all right. So I've had it once in my life, and it had a similar party that it looks like Kurt went to.
Is it like absinthe?
No, but absinthe is very high in alcohol. Absinthe has wormwood in it. Real absinthe has wormwood in it, and star anise or NSA. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh, it would bloody kill me. I'll tell you that.
Have you ever had absinthe?
No, what I've made it. Oh, actually, I think I might have had it in a cocktail once, like a tiny bit.
It's got that licorice flavor.
Yeah, I hate licorice, so that's probably why I've never had it.
It also that wormwood is poisonous, so that was a whole other thing. It would really affect you, and then you would they would start making cheap absinthe. And this is a little like side note, but Van Gogh was a big fan of absinthe, And do you remember, the story about how he cut off his ear?
Who?
Van Gogh.
Oh, yeah, of course, yes.
Yeah, the famous story. Well, in order to make absinthe, because absinthe is that glowing green, it has that green look to it. And to make cheap absinthe, what they would actually do is add copper dust to it.
Oh.
Yeah, we're talking this is a high toxicity level going on here. You should not be consuming copper. So if you have a lot of copper in your bloodstream, your ears will ring. And this very often it makes your ears like red, like your body's like maybe rejecting this toxic metal. And it's my opinion that it was the absinthe that led to him cutting off his ear.
Oh, well, yeah, that could be very true.
Because he was, he was a big boozer, and absinthe was his drink, and he was poor, so he would be drinking the cheap absinthe.
Well, I'll make sure that I never get any of that stuff in my ear.
But when I did have Everclear, and somebody gave me a shot of it, and I put it in my mouth, and it was as though I didn't have anything in my mouth except for pain. You didn't even taste liquid. It was so it was evaporating in your mouth as you had it, and I just spit it out. I'm just not I can't drink hard liquor, and it was
I can't
disgusting.
drink liquor at all.
It was just disgusting. It went up my nose. My eyes burned from it. I don't know how anybody drinks this junk.
It's like drinking gasoline, how I would imagine that would react.
I would rather probably drink gasoline, I'm telling you.
Really?
Yeah.
Never mind Everclear and absinthe. Just give me gasoline.
I love that you say gasoline instead of petrol.
Oh, I know. I've become quite American.
I know.
I say gas station, and
Nice.
I say cell phone, and
Pound.
yeah.
You see pounds.
People are like, what? And I'm like, oh, for goodness sake, I meant mobile phone. You know what I meant. It's just
that's awesome. You see quarter pounder with cheese.
Oh God, no, I call that a heart attack. That's what I call it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, really bad. Anyway, so back to Kurt. What wasn't mentioned in the Unsolved Mysteries segment that I found out was that Kurt had actually skipped school that day. And I remember him mentioning in the segment it was a Friday, and convinced an adult to buy him a bottle of Everclear alcohol. So, as we were saying, it's potent liquor, which is banned in several states, and that included Ohio, and it was banned in Ohio after it killed a man in Michigan.
Oof.
And he spent
it's
the
almost
Arvo
pure alcohol, by the way. That's what I want to mention.
Yeah.
Everclear was being used during the pandemic for people to use as hand sanitizer. That's how much alcohol we're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
It's true. It's totally true.
That thing was never discussed here unless it was under my nose that I never knew about it. But yeah, that's just anyway. So
hey, Laura, how's everything going?
Yeah. Oh, I once had a sip of alcohol that was 80% alcohol.
Oh yeah,
I think that's
80 proof or
I don't know.
Well, 80% alcohol will be 160 proof, and you're getting into Everclear territory there.
Yeah, well, I once had a tiny sip of that. Like we're talking like
a
not
nothing.
Even a
Yeah.
Like I just put my tongue to it type thing. And anyway, so Kurt had spent the day drinking the Everclear at his girlfriend's house, which we didn't even know he had a girlfriend. And I was just asked, does this show that Kurt was maybe not as innocent as he seemed? I couldn't find out any more information about his girlfriend, but he obviously had one.
Mm-hmm.
And was she okay with him drinking out at her house? Or was she at school? Like, you know, we don't know anything about that. He would have got pretty intoxicated by that stage.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Also, I'm imagining that he might have mixed it in with other drugs. And this doesn't mean he was like a bad kid. It just means he got his hands on some Everclear, you know, and he was like, woo, I want to be, you know, I'm going to have some. And he probably had a very small amount. And he's like, oh, I'm wasted. You know, like being drunk. Yeah. It feels good. And then you keep going and it's too late.
And they did say that he was not much of a drinker. And when he did, he sort of drank a bit and he was quite small. Like small boned.
They called him a medium frame, right?
Well, yeah, he was. Yeah, well, the mother said that she never knew him or his normal friends to drink, and that I don't know if. I thought it was this case where they mentioned that he had a heart murmur, but I don't think this was this case. I think it was the case of Jeremy Bright. That was a completely different case. He went to a party and he drank a lot of alcohol and he had a heart murmur, which is dangerous. But then again, whenever you consume alcohol, it's dangerous. So anyway, back to Kurt. He was with his girlfriend and then he met up with a mate called Sam who told him about a Halloween party that was taking place that night, and the two decided to go to it. And apparently the party was at the home of Debbie, Sam's and her brother Clayton.
Now, was this somebody, we never really got too much of an answer as to who these people kind of are. Are these like just people that are friends with younger kids? Was this an older party that the younger kids kind of crashed?
I have a feeling that it was maybe one of the, maybe Clayton was around Kurt's age.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, oh, there's a party at my sister's house. It's Halloween party. And like maybe the kids, you know, they went trick-or-treating and then they went up to bed and then the real party started because it said the Sams and a female roommate rented the upstairs of a double house on Harvard Avenue in Newburgh Heights. Other sources, including the Unsolved Mysteries segment, say the party was at Susan's house in a duplex. So, it could have been any number of things. Could have been the home of Debbie was belonged to, like was... She had a younger brother who was having the party and invited some friends along. Could have been some gate crashes that had just heard about the party and other people had said, hey, we want more people to attend, so there's going to be more alcohol and liquor there and drugs and whatever. So
I just looked it up. It's just to note, the Ohio University is only 10 miles away.
Oh, right.
So kind of maybe a little bit of a college town that he grew up in.
Yeah, it could be. Very much, that's very true. But so everyone else returned home, but Kurt never did. Kurt normally came home around 10 p.m., 11 at the latest. He would only stay out late if his parents knew where he was, but that night he just never came home.
Yeah, and his parents kind of went out right away searching for...
Yep.
I like his parents seem pretty nice. They seem a little, you know... kind of beaten up a little. Strung. I'm sorry, say that again?
It's a little highly strung.
Yeah, which I would imagine that would be acceptable going through this.
If you've got 4 boys, like my dad is one of 4 boys, and it's like, you know, everyone's different, but being the youngest, maybe they felt like they needed to protect him, and the youngest typically think that they know it all when they actually need the most help. I know if my sister listens to this, she's like, yeah, right, I'm not the one that needs help. But anyway, by Saturday morning, obviously Kurt's parents were worried. Dorothy, Kurt's mum, began calling all of Kurt's known friends, while Ken, the father, searched all of the neighbourhoods, but there was no trace of him, which, as you noted, would be pretty terrifying. You just go, where the heck is my son? Where has he gone?
Right, and that's the search, and it goes on for 5 days, which is crazy.
Yeah, and so during that time, someone's holding him hostage or hoping he'd get better when he was deathly sick and he just didn't, and then, just
yeah,
then
you
they
just don't
find him.
know. Now, when the mom found out there was a party that he possibly attended, went to the house, and we have the most disinterested person at the apartment, kind of like,
Yeah, she was
whatever.
rude.
Yeah, I thought so. She's like, yeah, I'll tell her it's cold, blah, blah, blah. And she did call back when she came home. She called back the mom, which I thought was a nice move. Unfortunately, she lied to her. She said there was no party. Did she say at first there was a party, but he wasn't there?
No, first of all, she said, no, she never said that. First of all, she said that the woman that hosted she said the woman who owned the apartment was working and that she was babysitting and she hadn't heard anything about a party. And then Susan called back and said to Dorothy, told her that she never saw Kurt and she didn't have a party.
Right.
But we found out the source from a pizza delivery man.
Unbelievable.
The good old pizza delivery man stated that there had been a party on Friday night, and Dorothy, the mother, contacted Susan again, and she finally admitted that there had been a party, and she said that Kurt had been there, but most of the people that attended were older, and most of the people that Kurt didn't know. Now, it's interesting. How would this Susan woman know Kurt? Like, how would she know that he didn't know many people there? How would he know that,
it makes no sense. It's kind of like...
did she have a conversation with him, or...
I mean, how would she even know who he was? You know, unless she just casually mentioned, hey, this is my friend.
But she did. I mean, he did kind of stand out. Like, he had like flaming red hair, and he was wearing a brightly orange top. So I guess maybe if Kurt's mum had said, "Look, this is what he looked like. Do you remember seeing him there?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I do remember seeing him there, but I didn't talk to him." Or maybe she talked to him for 5 minutes and said, and he said, "I don't know anybody here." Like, he could have mentioned that.
Now, I have a question. Why didn't the police question these people?
Oh, I have no idea.
Or at least we don't think they did.
Because we know that Kurt's parents reported him as missing to the Cleveland police. That was on Sunday. And they put up flyers, and his family and friends continued searching. But I don't know. I feel like as I often think, the police could have done more.
The police seem very uninvolved in this case.
Yes.
Until the body is found.
Yes. Yeah. It's very, and often they're like, what do they do with stalkers? Oh, we can't do anything until he actually does something, until he's chasing after her with a knife. It's like, oh, okay, no problems. We'll just wait for that to happen.
Yeah, it's just really, the whole thing is very sad. Now, where do we pick up from here? It's what his body is found on October 28th.
Yes. So, but before that, so already the suspicions are rising with what happened to Kurt. Why would people lie about a big party if it didn't indeed happen? And you put drugs and other illegal activities like murder, and you're so true, so right. Like, maybe they just didn't want to admit that anything had happened. But Susan told Dorothy that Kurt had been drinking a lot, mainly Everclear. And as we said, Kurt wasn't known to be much of a drinker, and his slight build added to his low tolerance for alcohol. And you said it. I'm sorry, I had to laugh. You said I had a single shot of Everclear and blacked out on the beach. It was a terrible experience.
Yeah, it was that night that I had that. And it was just, it was a terrible blanked moment in my life.
Yeah, well, it's scary. I remember when and everyone who knows me knows this story, but when I got, because in Colorado, marijuana is legal. You can't buy it on the streets, but you can buy it in shops. And I bought it in cookies or whatever.
Edibles.
and edibles, but I also smoked some, and I was on the floor, and I was fully conscious. I knew what everything was going on around me. I knew the people who were there. I knew the passcode on my cell phone. However, I couldn't move. And I wanted to move, and I just could not. My body could not move. And I was anxious because I'm thinking, I'm paralyzed. And it's
Right.
you know, and my friend's like, no, like, she was a nurse. She was very nice. She goes, no, you're just feeling the effects. It came on all at once. You're fine. And I'm just like, oh my God, what's happening to me?
That's how it happens with edibles. You know, it's, and that's one of the mistakes that newbies do. Newbie is they'll take they'll take a dose of something, right? And they're like, this isn't working, this is crap. Like, you wait like an hour and a half, so you're like, I'm gonna take more. And then about 20 minutes later that kicks in. And then it kicks in again.
And I would have killed myself. I would have fallen dead on the floor if my friend, God bless my friend Lee. Shout out to my friend Lee, from Perth. He was sort of standing behind me, but sort of with his back to me, and I sort of fell onto him. So if I hadn't fallen onto him, I would have just fallen down and hit my head.
That's the friend you need.
Yeah, that's the one to be there when you almost kill yourself. That's totally right.
What you're describing is also a great explanation if somebody wanted to understand what sleep paralysis is like. I don't know if you've ever experienced anything like that, but it's essentially when you wake up, but you wake up, but you can't bring yourself to move.
I've had that, and you're like still half dreaming about it, and it's really a weird feeling.
Right, it can be scary actually because
it's scary.
You're fully awake.
Yeah, and you want to move, but it's almost like your brain's like still in REM, and you can't move. It's so strange, but yes, that's very true. Anyway, back to
his party, his consumption of Everclear.
Everclear. So Dorothy believes that if everyone else at the party was drinking, he probably was doing it as well. Peer pressure, I would assume. I have read many sources that say drugs were everywhere in those days in that area of Ohio. So there's a high chance that drugs were available at the party.
Sure.
And you wondered what drugs, and I was wondering, and I would guess back then it would be but I would also guess cocaine.
But cocaine was costly. It still is costly. So I don't know if some basic kids. Now, if this is a university party, it could be totally different.
Yeah, that's true. They could all put in together for some. But I reckon it was just a mixture. And I reckon maybe he took a bunch of pills. And with the Everclear, that would wipe anyone out. Yeah,
he could have had some Mexican Quaaludes or something.
Oh, God, can you imagine? Poor thing. I hate to think what happened to him. It's really sad. At 9:30 p.m., Susan asked Sam to take Kurt outside after he started to stumble around and become sick. Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised. Sam, which is Kurt's friend, took Kurt out to get some fresh air. It was a cold night, so Sam went back to get Kurt's jacket and left him hanging on the fence. When he went back outside a few minutes later, Kurt was simply gone. He searched the surrounding area but didn't find him, so he assumed that Kurt had walked home. And I said, with Kurt being that sick, I doubt he would have had the capacity to walk far at all. So was Sam telling the truth, or maybe he just left Kurt outside and went back to the party? Like maybe he just thought, I'm feeling pretty good. I don't want Kurt to ruin my night. We'll just leave him sitting down by this fence and he'll be fine.
I don't believe the fence thing happened. I think that they did bring him to the basement and just say, hey, you can lay down in this cot and sleep it off.
Yeah.
And he died. That's what I think is the basic story. I think he had alcohol poisoning.
Either that or the fence thing did happen and a couple of guys came along while Kurt's friend was back inside and said, well, he looks really sick, let's take him down to the basement. So either or, I think he ended up in that basement, definitely.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, what was the point of that in the basement anyway?
Yeah, exactly. And the jacket was later found at the duplex. When Dorothy heard Sam's story, she became hysterical. I mean, as if you wouldn't, as a parent, you would have many questions. Mm-hmm. But apparently Kurt's parents were at the duplex many times over the next couple of days that the police had to tell them to stop harassing the tenants. And I was thinking, that's really unfair of the police to do that. Their son is missing, and that's where Kurt was last seen. So they should have done a thorough investigation. I mean, that just sounds like the tenants are like, oh, well, obviously the tenants have something to hide, because I wouldn't mind someone coming in and searching my place if I had nothing to do with it.
To a point, I don't really buy into a lot of that, but, I'm not really somebody who subscribes to, well, I have nothing to hide. You can do whatever you want, 'cause,
like within reason. Like I wouldn't want them like rummaging through my underwear drawer or something.
Right.
But like, you just want, like, if they said, look, can we come in? And but if I did have a party and I know nothing went on, I would be like, look, this is what happened at the party. It's all I can tell you. It's all I know. And if something did happen at the party, would I be trying to get rid of the police faster because I want them off my back? So I would complain to the police saying, oh, they're harassing us, blah, blah, blah.
See, so one of the things that kind of falls into the fact that I think that he died 5 days ago, like he didn't die just, 24 to 36 hours or whatever it was, is when they did a tox screen on him, when they found the body, he had a blood alcohol level of 0.11, which is high, but it's not that high. But it's also, why would he be drunk there? Like, it doesn't make sense. He was drinking 5 days ago.
Yes, exactly. Exactly right. Yeah.
But I don't know if does the alcohol stay in your blood?
No, the alcohol would not stay in your blood for 5 days. No,
so he had to have been drinking. I don't know.
Yeah, like, well, I don't think anybody would be forcing him to drink or anything. It'd be, I don't care how potent Everclear is or how potent alcohol is. It definitely depends on your timeline. Like, you can drink and still be drunk the next morning. I've done that. Like, I've been, like, literally had such a big night that I've woken up drunk still.
Sure.
But that's the next morning. And then by the afternoon, you're like, obviously it's all worn off and stuff. And then if you were to have a blood test that night or the next day, you'd be sober, 0.0. So,
I'm not sure. But also 0.11 is, although a little high, I think that's, it's low enough where that's like a glass of wine and maybe a beer. Like, it's not that high, because 0.08 is intoxicated to drive. Like, if you are 0.08 or above, that's where you can get a DWI.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know what it is here, but I'm
sure it's similar, if not more strict.
Yeah. Well, I've driven drunk before, and I'm not. I am ashamed to admit it that I've driven drunk, but haven't we all?
I've never driven drunk, but that's beside the point.
Oh, I'm really a bad person then.
No. You're willing to admit it. I bet you a lot of people are not willing to admit it.
Yeah, true. But, I did it. But, we learned the lesson. I didn't get caught, but I still learned my lesson. I'm like, never doing that again. And once I hit a pole. So it was only a little pole, but it's still.
You hit a pole, wow.
Well, I hit like, not a pole, but like those little like, I don't know, those sticks that come up. You put them in there like with the highlights on them so you can see in the dark when you.
Oh, they're like,
when you're
driving. They're like
so
reflectors.
Not a pole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, reflectors. So I hit a reflector, but it wasn't, didn't do too much. So
it wasn't a person. Calm down, people. No. It was not a person.
I don't think it was a person. Actually, there was that one time. I'm just joking.
with that night, with the weed, yeah.
Yeah, with the weed, yeah. Okay, back to it. On Wednesday, October 28th, which we mentioned before, Kurt's body was found in the ravine behind a warehouse on Harvard Street. He was found just 500 yards from the duplex where he had last been seen alive and where the party was. Mm-hmm. Lieutenant Robert Karras of the Newburgh Heights Police Department believes that Kurt's body was dumped there and that the person knew the area was popular. This meant that the person knew that Kurt's body would be found soon. But yeah, like we said, it wasn't there the day before because Kurt's father had searched there, but the police searched the area and found Kurt's left shoe wedged in some rocks less than 12 feet away from his body, which you mentioned. His right shoe was never found. Again, was it a souvenir by the person or was it just it got left somewhere covered in the basement. I don't know.
The people involved don't seem like the kind who would take a souvenir, you know?
Yeah,
It seems too bumbling.
Why take a shoe, of all things, anyway? Ugh, who wants a shoe? His body was taken to the Cuyahoga County Coroner's Office for an autopsy, and as previously stated, the autopsy revealed that Kurt had died 24 to 36 hours before his body was found. So if he was found on Wednesday, let's just say he was found at noon, he could have died anywhere between Tuesday at noon or the 12 hours before that. So anywhere up to like midnight on Monday.
Yeah.
So...
but they did find during the autopsy, saw that Kurt had a bruise on his cheek, on one of his cheeks. He had numerous bruises on his shins, which you point out it's likely being dragged or being pulled in and out of cars or anything. Yeah. And a few scratches and like nicks on his body, but no knife wounds, no bullet holes, no like hypodermic needles or any type of like, you know, real injuries like broken ribs or internal bleeding.
There was no sign of that. And former Chief Deputy Coroner Lester Adelson said that on the basis of the things that they saw and did not see, they felt that Kurt had died from, quote, instantaneous physiologic death, unclose quote, and the manner of the death was signed as probable accidental. He says that's because they eliminated everything else. It was a diagnosis by exclusion. Mm-hmm. And I think that was just because it was back in 1981 where, you know, how intricate were autopsies. I'm sure these days they're way more sophisticated. Like I said, it's been 41 years.
Mm-hmm. Much. I mean, it was like really, really, if it's not visual, they're not seeing the problem. Right?
Yeah. It's definitely, he hadn't been beaten or traumatized, not enough, no scratches and that to determine that that's how he died, not big enough ones or deep enough bruises to cause anything. He had a blood alcohol level of 0.11, not high enough to end his life, no hard drugs in his system, and he had no pre-existing natural disease. So I said maybe it was a drug that was left his system by the time they autopsied Kurt and the test couldn't prove it. Tests for cocaine and LSD turned up negative. I'm guessing there are a lot more in-depth drugs these days, like I said. There could have been a full tox screen on him.
While he was missing, so in the 5 days that he's missing and his parents are searching for him, some things kind of popped up, some strange events. And for instance, on Monday, which is just a few days after when he went missing, which is 3 days after he disappeared, his friend David Trisnick claims that he saw Kurt and another boy or man walking along a busy street near the Sova home. Kurt was with somebody he didn't recognize, and David pulled over to offer him a ride. I think he was on his way to a job interview. And at that same time, a van pulled up and Kurt yelled out, "Franco," which is pretty, specific. He and the other boy ran to the van and hopped in. David didn't know Kurt was missing at the time and states if he did know, he would, of course, done something like followed the van. But, it seemed like just an everyday type of occurrence.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, how close was this friend to Kurt? If it was a very close friend, you would have known that his good mate was missing. He would have been the one help putting out flyers. I know my good friends would be doing that if I was missing. Could it be a simple case of mistaken identity? And are we sure that it was Franco? But I just think that Kurt had not really a secret life, but I just think he had some things going on that just his parents didn't know. But I don't think that leads him to deserve how he died or where he was found or the situation of his death. Like, no one deserves that.
No.
But yeah, now this next one I find a bit odd. Also on Monday, so 2 days before his body was found, a stranger who had been hanging around the Sovas neighbourhood noticed Kurt's missing flyer in the window of a local record store, and he went into the store and told the manager, whose name was Judy, that she might as well take the flyer down because they're going to find him dead in 2 days and no one's going to know why he died. And he simply said it and then just left the store. And the manager was skeptical, but she soon had reason to take the stranger seriously because the next day, before the store opened, the stranger left flowers and a note. The note said, "Roses are red, the sky is blue. They found him dead and they'll find you too." And she reported this to the police. I mean, I don't know if he was just some crazy person.
I don't know. I kind of don't believe the story. It just seems too fantastic.
Maybe this Judy just wanted the attention from police. Maybe she wanted more people to go in her record store.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe she's like, "Oh, hey, I know stuff about Kurt Sova. Come in, buy records."
It just seems something. It's just too like X-Files all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's very, very odd. But so this means the note was found on Tuesday, the day before Kurt's body was found in the ravine. So how did the man know that Kurt was dead already? Like, how did he know to put the note saying, because that was on Tuesday that the note and the flowers were found, when his body wasn't found till Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So, but another source I read said that the flowers and note were at the record shop on Thursday. So that was the day after. But like you said, the whole thing just sounds sort of made up. And do we know that actually happened? Only the police would know from the reports. Do the police even bloody care?
Did he say this about everyone? Like whenever there's a missing flyer, it's like, they're going to find them,
It might as well be a flyer of a cat if that's the case.
The flyer, the police dismissed him as quote unquote crazy.
From Detroit, yeah.
Yeah, from Detroit. So that was that. It didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he was at the party. It's possible, right?
Oh yeah, he was probably just high on LSD. Like, who the hell knows? After at least the police questioned him, but still, like, they should have done a lot more.
Wednesday, though, Dorothy gets a phone call from Susan at 3:30 a.m. Holy cow! Don't call me at 3:30 a.m.
Oh my God, I'm comatose by then.
Yeah,
I would hear nothing. I wouldn't even hear an explosion.
She was telling Dorothy that somebody was sleeping in her basement and perhaps it was Kurt. Now, this is after the body has been found.
Yes. Well, actually, we don't know. I don't actually know that. Oh, yeah, of course it is. Of course it is, because it's 3:30 in the morning. Sorry. Yes, of course it is. Duh.
But this is what is weird, and they say this in the reenactment. I rewound it, and I'm kind of not sure where it went, but then I maybe it's the next day. Ken decided to go to the duplex basement. How did he get in?
Yeah, well, maybe he just convinced them, I just need to have one more look down in the basement. Maybe, well, as we have decided, we both think he was in the basement at some point. Yeah. Maybe Susan was having a crisis of conscience and she was like, "Oh, look, I've got to let them know. Just make up something and say someone's sleeping in my basement to sort of get them down there to maybe find a clue, but not really linking herself to it all, if that makes sense,
Yeah, it's the whole thing. That it definitely makes sense that she's kind of like, somebody's going to catch me. I'm involved in this. I better, try to come somewhat clear.
Yeah, like, I don't think it was just her. Like, I think it was her and a bunch of other people just, like I said, freaked out about what was happening to Kurt and just went and put him in the basement, let him sleep it off. Oh, my God, he's not getting better. It's getting worse. Oh, my God.
But Ken went there and he found the cot. It looks like somebody had slept in there, but nobody was there when he searched. It was just kind of a strange thing. And I think that he definitely was down there, like we've said a couple times. And I think he died down there. That's what I think.
Oh, I think so too. Do you remember the case of Jeremy Bright? Not
off the top of my head, no.
So he was a guy that went to a carnival with his friend. It was like a yearly carnival, I think, in Oregon. And he went to a party and was given a beer that was already open because he went to go get a beer that was closed. But this guy said, "Here, take this one. It's already open." Like, pretty sus. And he took it, took the drink. And that was one story. But another story was that he was swimming in a water hole, and a guy used a gun and was shooting into the water and accidentally shot Jeremy. And they took him to this, this sort of cabin in the woods and hoping he got better, but he ended up dying.
Yeah.
So it's very similar. That's very similar, and they still don't know what really happened to Jeremy after all these years. So it's that, to that regard, it's quite similar. So I just thought I'd bring that up one day. Maybe we'll do that case. So So
what's interesting about this, though, is that where they found Kurt's body, Ken claims to have searched there not 24 hours before.
Yes.
So, I mean, is he going back to the same spots that he's been going to? I also think maybe the timeline on that is wrong. You know, these two parents had the week from hell, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, poor things. Yeah, I feel really bad for them because they seem like decent people just trying to live their lives, and then they have this horrible thing. I mean, who would know what to do in that situation?
No, I certainly wouldn't. But yeah, he believes that if Kurt was there, he would have seen him, especially since he was wearing a bright yellow T-shirt. And you would
notice a body. You would notice a body, even if you thought it was a mannequin, even if you thought it was, you know, something else. If you're searching for something, you're going to find something that's, you know, however tall he was and however much he weighed. You're going to see it there. You know, I don't know how big the ravine was, but, you know, you're going to see it.
Now, this whole Eugene vet, I didn't get it. I don't buy it. I don't think there's any connection. What do you think about this? I don't see the resemblance. I just don't get it.
The only thing that was weird is I think the shoe thing was the same. So 3 months after Kurt's death, the death of a boy called Kurt used to know, 13-year-old Eugene Gavette had an eerie resemblance to Kurt. It's actually eerie, though, that Kurt's middle name was Eugene. He was found in another ravine on Harvard Street, 2.5 miles from where Kurt's body was discovered. Both boys had been missing for some time before their deaths, and Eugene's right shoe was also never found. I do have a theory, though. You know that guy that we were saying, the crazy from Detroit? Mm-hmm. Maybe he found Kurt on the fence that day and ended up, I don't know,
being involved.
Torturing, being involved or whatever, or waiting for him to get better or whatever. Maybe this same guy found Eugene and did the same thing, because that's definitely... It's not too similar. I mean, they were very different in age. Like Kurt was 17. Eugene was 13. What was it? I mean, we don't know the details of Eugene's case. Was he at a party or was he walking home alone?
Do they often find bodies in the ravine? Is this a thing?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know if it's really related, but I don't know. I think that crazy from Detroit, as crazy as he was, I think he knew some shit. I think he knew some stuff. You know, but yeah, I mean, that was also unfortunate because that little boy was only 13. So, so Kurt's parents don't think they'll come to peace until they find answers. Dorothy stated in the Unsolved Mysteries segment that she'll never give up because she doesn't believe that a normal, healthy boy just walks away and disappears for 5 days and then ends up dead in a ravine. She is certain somebody knows what happened to him. And I think you and I agree when we said that he ended up in the basement somehow. They were trying to get him better, and he died, and they dumped him in the ravine. And then it could have been right after Ken searched there, the father. You know, but then again, Ken could have been looking at night. Maybe he missed him. With so many things. So
yeah, there really are. There's like a million different variables that could have been happening. There's also, it sounds like there's a lot of ravines. So I mean, for all we know, he searched a different ravine.
So true. Yeah, very true. Maybe the one that Eugene ended up in. Who knows? But so the suspects. I mean, authorities in the Kurt's family believe that someone from the party that Kurt attended knows what happens to him. They believe that at least 2 other people carried his body to the ravine where it was later found. The party host, Susan, is obviously considered to be a potential suspect. I'm sure she doesn't live there now. I think I read somewhere that the duplex was bulldozed down. But but I guess Susan was considered a potential suspect because she lied so many times, and she knew that he was very drunk and that there were drugs at the party. So Kurt was known to have smoked some pot in the past, but that night maybe he either tried a new drug or slipped something and
Definitely
had a bad
possible. I mean, I still think I'm still leaning towards alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, well, if I was drinking Everclear all day and then I went and had even one pill or one smoke of pot, I don't think I'd be too well.
Right.
I don't think I would be well before the pot. That's a very, very, as you said, potent alcohol. Yeah. Like, why would you even do that to yourself? I don't even know. But, and then I said the man in the record store, which we just discussed, might know something. Yeah. He apparently bragged about having access to bodies flown into Cleveland Hopkins International Airport, which is a weird thing to brag about.
It is. It's totally
really
like,
dodgy.
What? Yeah.
But the parents arrested him. The police arrested him and interrogated him, but they determined that he was just mentally, emotionally disturbed and ruled him out as a suspect. And that night they were released from custody, and he left Newburgh Heights, and he's not been seen since.
There's Franco.
Yeah, and then there's Franco. Yeah.
Which we have no idea. Franco? We know he has a van, or he was in a van.
Yep. So maybe Kurt got in that van to party more.
I don't think it was Kurt. I think that was a mistaken identity, because you make an excellent point. Why wouldn't he have known about this kid missing?
Yeah.
If he was so close, the parents would have known about him and reached out to him.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if I'm close with someone and I see someone, I'm not going to that job interview, because he was on his way to a job interview. If I see someone that's missing, I'm going after the person that's missing. I'm missing that job interview. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But, and he didn't. He just went on and went like, oh.
Right, because he was unaware. He just didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess hindsight's 20/20. I shouldn't really blame him. But,
how dare you?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry for that person. And shortly before Kurt's body was found, a young woman reportedly saw two young men dragging an unconscious teenage boy down the alley toward the ravine. One of his feet was barefoot. This is significant because we know that there was a shoe missing. But when did she see the two young men? Was it during the day? Was it during the night? An interesting thought. Were his socks clean or dirty?
That's a good point.
Was he even wearing socks? If he was and they weren't dirty, it would indicate he didn't walk to where his body was found, which I wouldn't think he would anyway, because if he's going to walk there and lie down and say, hey, guys, give me a couple of bruises and scratches, give me a little tiny bit of alcohol and I'm going to go to sleep and then I'm dead, that doesn't make any sense.
I think Susan and her friends were involved with I think he died of alcohol poisoning, or maybe his heart gave out. We're not sure. But I think that they didn't kill him. I think it was the substances killed him. And I think that they all freaked out. And they're like, we have to get rid of the body. Instead of just maybe calling the police and probably I guess he would get into some trouble. I don't know what would happen to you.
Yeah, who knows? And it was a chilly night, but he didn't die of exposure, apparently.
Yeah.
And at the time, that woman that saw the two young men dragging the body, she wanted to go to the police, but the husband told her they've got to mind their own business, which actually happens a lot in a lot of the Unsolved Mysteries cases. Like the one about Crystal Spencer, how she heard lady woke up hearing screams, and the husband didn't want to get involved. And it's like, oh my goodness, if I'm hearing a woman being tortured, I'm gonna be calling the police. Don't you dare tell me what to do.
Unless you don't like the person, you're like, yeah.
Well, that's true. It's like, oh yeah, maybe they're getting what they've deserved. No,
I'll give it 10 more minutes.
Yeah, not in Crystal's case. That was a very sad, and that's another case I'd like to look into.
Yes.
But about a year later, she ran into Ken, which is Kurt's dad, and told him about what she had seen. If that were me, I would have sought out the Sova family ASAP and told them what I saw, not wait a year.
Yeah, like that's what's crazy, a whole year.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hey, there's that guy. Maybe I should tell him now. I'd be like, gee, you idiot. Would have been nice to have known a year ago. But anyway, the Sovas passed this information to the Newburgh Heights police, but for some reason they never interviewed her. Again, I think that's police incompetence.
It's questionable.
And they suck, basically. They suck. So the results. Unfortunately, this case is unresolved. So for years, Kurt's family feared that the Newburgh Heights police were stalling the investigation. Sounds like they were pretty right, which you agreed with. Over the course of several years, several officers were arrested on charges ranging from falsifying credentials to drug trafficking. Lieutenant Karras, who was first on the scene when they found Kurt's body, was later discovered to be a drug addict himself who allegedly assaulted handcuffed prisoners. He allegedly took one prisoner to the warehouse near where Kurt's body was found and tried to fight with him. In 1991, so 10 years after Kurt died, he was convicted of attacking, not him, but Lieutenant Karras was convicted of attacking the prisoners and was given a sentence of 6 to 15 years.
Wow.
He denied being involved in Kurt's death, but of course you would deny it. But it certainly seems like if you take someone to a warehouse and try to assault them, you could easily do that to someone like Kurt Sova.
Yeah.
The Cleveland police, the county sheriffs and the prosecutor's officers and the FBI later looked into the case. Each agency felt that the Newburgh Heights police did a poor investigation. So, for example, no photos were taken at Kurt's body at the scene, even though in the Unsolved Mystery segment it did look like they did take photos, but apparently they actually didn't.
Yeah.
No search of the duplex where Kurt was last seen was made. I mean, as we know, Kurt's father had to go himself. No written statements were found from the partygoers. They also rejected an offer of help from the Cleveland police shortly after Kurt's death. According to Dorothy, they didn't interview many of the people who came to her with leads. She claims that Lieutenant Karras played her off as just a mother that would not accept her son's death. So the police obviously had something to hide, and it seems to be mostly drug-related. So to investigate, people might have uncovered their own corrupt behaviour.
No, so this was interesting, though, about in 2019, where you were talking about this in a crime con, where they did an event called Crowd Solve.
Yes.
And they would just had 100 participants work together with enforcement and criminal forensics experts to examine the case and try to help solve it.
Yeah.
But
they've done that with many other cases as well.
I mean, it's amazing. It's a little too cute, but it's a good use of resources.
Yeah, and hopefully all those people were legit because, I mean, I really think that if drugs were involved in Kurt's death, then the police would have had something to do with it, which is why they were so sloppy with their investigation.
Yeah, the whole thing is kind of crazy, but it didn't go anywhere. There was at least we don't think it did.
Well, I tried to search some information if anything was uncovered. Was there even any new information to be uncovered?
Mm-hmm.
And a $5,000 reward is being offered for any information. So unfortunately, Kurt's parents have since passed away, so at least now they have closure. I believe they have closure on what happened to their boy. On July 12th, 2001, Ken passed away at the age of 68, which is pretty young. On December 7th, 2014, Dorothy passed away at the age of 76. Two of his brothers, Kevin and Kenneth, have also since passed away. His third brother, I think it was Keith and Kenneth, have also passed away.
Okay.
His third brother, Kevin, is still looking for answers in Kurt's case. And it's so sad that almost his immediate family is gone for good, and they never got justice for Kurt. No. And yes, all the boys' names do start with K.
Yeah. But I mean, at least they did find the body. They did. I mean, they don't have the whole story. They never got the whole story. But, some people just don't ever get the body, and they have nothing. They're like, is he alive? Is he not alive? What happened?
Yeah, and they wonder, and there's that whole thing about not being able to bury them, not having the headstone, not being able to have somewhere to put flowers and say goodbye. So, but that would have been just torture, for in the dad's case, 20 years of not knowing And, the mother's case, 33 years of not knowing, just be absolutely terrible. And I did watch a segment on YouTube, which was just like a Ohio news segment that it featured the third brother, Kevin. And he was saying, most of my family's gone, but I still want to keep this alive. And he said, this is the ravine where Kurt was found.
Wow.
If it could jog any memories. Yeah, they did. It was pretty interesting, actually. But
Could you send me
didn't
that? I'm interested in seeing that.
Yeah, I could try and find it. Yeah. It would be somewhere because I researched this case quite a while ago. I'll try and find it and send it to you. So, unfortunately, we don't get justice in this case for Kurt, but I just hope that it wasn't too painful for him, and he's up there with his parents now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So bless the family.
Definitely gone too soon.
Oh, for sure, and without any answers, which is more frustrating. And and unfortunately, there are a lot of corrupt policemen out there, a lot of corrupt police stations.
Too many, yeah.
Oh, too many to count. So.
But, one good thing, I think one thing that we can all learn from this is maybe stay away from the Everclear.
Yes, and the pot and the cocaine and the LSD. Stay away from it all. Kids, don't do it.
Has anybody ever had Everclear and thought wow, that was a great time?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, I have not had pot since I fell over and could not feel my body. That was just the scariest moment of my life. That was awful. So why you would want to go there? I don't. I don't use it.
And I can't even drink. I'm a terrible drinker. I'm just.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
You give me one, and I'm like, oh, I love everybody in this room.
Give me two, and you're running around with a knife.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There could be that. Yeah.
No.
Well, I do like true crime.
Yeah, it's true. But Laura, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you taking the time and all the work that you put into this episode.
No problem. Thank you. I always enjoy, and I'm glad I enjoy doing it. And I'm glad that we got back to our old roots, and where hiatus is over.
Yeah, hopefully, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yes, me too. But there's a few others I want to research as well. Follow us on Instagram. It's at Unsolved Mysteries Rewind. We do post when we have new episodes up. Yeah. We had one that was up last week, which is Dennis Depew, the mean old man, that I did with my mean old man. I'm just joking.
That's hilarious.
Before that we had a few others. So, and also follow us on Instagram. So just Unsolved Mysteries Rewind. And this is Laura and Mark signing off.
Tonight we have been confronted with an entire catalog of unexplained and unsolved events. Tune in next time as Unsolved Mysteries Rewind discusses another collection of unsolved mysteries. Until then, we can only look and wonder.